Mr. Chair, now recognize the gentleman from West Virginia, Mr. McKinley, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Ms. Secretary. Thank you for going to Morgantown to visit the
It was fun.
National Energy Technology Laboratory. I wasn't here in Congress in 8, 9. I didn't come till 11, so I'm trying to get up to speed with all this debate that's taken place. But I do have a report that was, or an issue, fact-finding from the Nuclear Energy Institute that indicates that in 2008 there were some 3,000 scientists across 5 laboratories and various major universities were involved in filing this application with the DOE for the permit. And then within a year's time, that permit was reversed, or the application was reversed. Mr. Secretary, other than an election being taking place during that period of time, what happened? Was there a change in science or technology that the DOE hadn't taken into consideration, or was this decision to cancel the application merely political?
Well, in a similar vein, of course, I was not here as well. However, I would note that, as we've stressed, that there are 2 essential conditions in our view. I mean, one is good science, and number 2 is consent.
That's what I'm saying. What science changed between 08 and 09?
There are 2 issues, science and consent, and the administration felt that on the consent basis, this was simply not a workable project.
Was consent part of the law in 08?
It's a question of the ground truth and the reality. Is the project moving forward? Does the project have the ability to capture all the permits it needs, which include state permits? And so the project was deemed and declared not workable.
Mr. It just you know, engineers or contractors, there's a feel. It feels political. It doesn't feel like it has anything to do with science or technology. The question you were asked several times now. Gentleman from Georgia was asking it. I heard the chairman Upton from Michigan raising the same question. That using his numbers, because I don't know what they are for West Virginia, but when he said Michigan has invested 600, they've taken away from the taxpayers and businesses, everyone using the power, they've extracted $600 million from the residents of Michigan to pay for this facility. What have they gotten for that $600 million?
Well, first of all, of course,
and I heard your answer. It was really, well, that was the amount that's being extracted is fair. It will pay for the facility, but that's not the answer that I think that the question they were asking. What did we get for it? If we wind up ultimately abandoning the facility, what did they get for $600 million in Michigan?
The 1 mil per kilowatt hour has been paid in the rate base for all nuclear utilities for the federal government commitment to accept the fuel and move it from those sites. That commitment remains.
But they've spent $600 million and it hasn't happened yet. So what happens with the amount of money that's already been expended? Are we going to refund it to the individuals? If we abandon, go to a different site? Because I believe you're trying to answer a question. If I can put words in your mouth, that whenever the site is determined, that mil per kilowatt hour will be adequate to be able to facilitate this. But that's not the question. The question is, what happens to the $600 million in Michigan that's already been expended? They don't have anything. There's nothing to show for it.
Again, the 1 mil per kilowatt hour is not to buy a facility, it's to buy a service. The service, as far as the utility concerned, is spent fuel removal. The failure to begin removing that fuel
which was done
on February 1st, 1998, has led to the payment of damages. Those damages are currently projected to go north of $20 billion back to the utilities because the service is not being provided. The service will be provided. That remains the commitment. And The funds, in the meantime, are, as I said earlier, accruing interest. In fact, I think in the current waste fund, I may be not quite right on this, but I think something like $6 billion of it is interest that has accrued over the time. So it's a service being purchased. That was a decision a long time ago by this Congress in terms of how nuclear waste disposal would be paid for. The commitment remains. It's no different.
In closing, I know my time's over. Are you telling me that if this decision goes in our favor, or it goes in the favor of Yucca Mountain, and all the investment we've made, will the president uphold that, or is this going to be another like DOMA immigration and the employer mandate? Will he enforce this, or will he waive this?
We have made very clear we follow the law. If the court
But he hasn't
directs,
followed the law. That's the problem. He hasn't followed the law in other cases.
The law will be determined by this court decision that we are all awaiting. And if it directs the NRC to pick up the license, we will do our job to support that, given appropriations. It will be up to the funds to be supplied from discretionary or mandatory by this body, and there will be many other conditions that have to be met, including by the government, land withdrawals. There will be state permits, many, many issues, and again, the judgment remains. When you put all of this together, it doesn't seem very workable.
Chairman, I apologize for running.
No, you did fine. Thank you.